Greetings, everyone. Greetings, greetings, and greetings. This is Dr. David D. King here with you guys on this evening. I'm excited about the show. We're about to get started. I just got to do a couple of things on my end for technical difficulties. So I am here. Let me just get everything situated and set up. We got more guests that's coming on. We're just being few minutes and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. So I just thank for everyone being here tonight and those that are going to be coming on watching. I welcome you. I welcome you on. I'm just getting this thing straightened up. Thought I had it done. You guys are seeing you guys are watching my see my background. I'm having problems with the background, but so I'm just going to leave it green. And so we have some freedom fighters tonight that's going to be with us tonight. And I see um, the lovely Ruth in the house, brother John in the house. So um, I guess we get this party started, and we got more that's supposed to come on. So um, let's see. Ladies is always first. So we're going to ask Ruth to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about faith, family, and freedom.
Hello, everybody. Boy, it's a late one today, Pastor.
I know, right?
So, my name is Ruth Villarreal. I'm part of Faith Family Freedom. We are out of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Grassroots, new over the summer. Uh, just decided to get a group together and really start to help our community out and just do public outreach and focusing on getting patriots together as well as a target for a faith-based group. And so we realized early on that if we were going to get anywhere in this battle that we're up against, that we were going to need to keep God on the forefront. And so Faith Family Freedom was born.
All right. And Brother John, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and tell them about Freedom Fighters of Central Wisconsin?
Hey,
Brother
he's having
John?
issues with the mic. You have to flag him down.
I know. Brother John, can you hear us? Oh, I guess he's having some issues right now. Um, but he should be right back. But while he's going, let's see. Oh, he's switching. Okay, John, hold on one second. Okay. Can you hear us, John?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Okay. Well, now do you need the other one or no? Okay, I'm gonna take that one totally out.
Okay.
Hold on one second. There. There. All right. Why don't you tell everybody about you, sir?
Yeah. So John Chula here. Obviously one of the principal partners with the Freedom Fighters of Central Wisconsin. Our main goals and objectives are to organize and bring together the community on community and patriotic ventures. Making sure we maintain our freedoms, our liberties, and we have a network and a community around us to do that and support that. So that's what we do with the Freedom Fighters. We help assist any way we can, but the big push right now is just to organize the people to combat certain things and just develop a network that we all can help each other on certain initiatives.
Okay. Now, you know, I made this show to talk about um, the freedom fighters because there's so many people across the state that are freedom fighters now, and so why don't you guys? And I'll start with you this time, John. First, why don't you tell the people why you became a freedom fighter?
Well, I don't really think I think I was always a freedom fighter. I think ever since the really before the military. I mean, I've always been uh, on the front lines and an advocate for our American freedoms, our American history, why we're here, what it took for us to get here, and what it took for the brave men, men and women to fight for our rights that we have today. So I've always been an advocate of that, and of course, when you say freedom fighter, I'm more of a of somebody that just tries to sustain and maintain the American values that built this great country, right?
Right.
So for one, we always want freedom. I mean, that's what we're about. America's about freedom. That's what we want. So the freedom fighters just help instill that initiative and keep it on post. Currently we don't let it fade away.
Okay. Ruth, why don't you tell us why you became a freedom fighter?
Um, I kind of feel the same as John. I don't think that it's something that just happened overnight. I woke up, one morning and just decided I was going to be a freedom fighter. I do believe it's a calling. It's something that's instilled in us from birth. And, it takes certain things to unfold in our lifetime to bring forth that stuff that's just been, and it's innate, and it's a calling. So I mean, it's not something you can really avoid. You can try to
Mhm.
avoid it, but you're not going to sleep. So it's always there. I want to say that college really was an eye opener. I was actively involved in student government throughout my 4 years in college, and that really did open up my eyes to the political arena. I can't say that I was necessarily interested in politics, but I did realize that the world turns, and I found myself acutely aware of my surroundings. And now, with everything going on, being in the healthcare field,
Mhm.
just the years of educating myself, I realized that, it's my Esther moment.
You
Yeah.
know, and I'm glad that you guys said it the way you said it. I ever since God had me study this country and how it was founded and all of the things that took place, um, I end up finding out that I was what I like to call the 21st century Black Robe Regiment, and that us pastors has to get out of the pulpit and really uh, and get engaged in what's happening with government. And I've been out here for a long time fighting as well. And I mean, at rallies, at tea parties, fighting the liberals in Milwaukee. I mean, it's so much going on that sometimes I'll be wondering, I'm the only one that sees this. Can anybody else see what's going on? And so when we talk about freedom, I look at it the ability just to be a family without government in the way. See, us three, we know what that looked like, right? Our children don't know what that looked like right now. And so we know how it is where the government didn't get in your way. If you messed up, you got dealt with, and you got dealt with at home. And a lot of people didn't understand that. Well, today they don't understand that because I remember coming up, one of the things they would always tell us was don't mess up the family name. And I didn't understand that coming up until I got grown. What that mean? Don't mess up the family name. And so, You know, when you try to date somebody, the first thing her father asks you is, who is your people? You know, and when you say the name, that name either going to allow you to date his daughter or get away from his daughter. You know,
Yep.
And so those was because why? Your name had to have value. Your name had to have good character. You know, everything comes with that name. And so when we look at society today and the things that they're trying to do to us, where your name doesn't have to be good, you don't have to walk around with integrity, you don't have to walk around in character. You know, even in politics right now, it's like whoever can lie the best, that's who we vote for.
Right.
And in doing that, this is the mess we end up with. And so for me to get in this, to stay into the fight, because I don't want to hand off a country that's not free to my children.
Yep.
And so I know with Faith, Freedom, and Family, we're partnering together on Friday, and we're having a Wisconsin Revival Rally in Sheboygan on on Sunday. No, Friday. Lord Jesus, I'm all over the place, y'all.
Friday at 6 p.m.
Friday at 6 p.m. at Lakeshore Lanes. Lakeshore Lanes. Right? That's it. Lakeshore Lanes.
That's it. Lakeshore Lanes.
Okay, y'all got to help me tonight because last night I had a bad case of food poisoning. So my mind probably ain't all the way there yet. But Friday, Lakeshore Lanes. And the thing about it is, I'm glad that so many people are active right now. And I'm glad that so many people are saying enough is enough right now. And we done gave up so much. And I like to do it with a football analysis. So we the defense, we done gave up so many yards, passing yards and rushing yards for so long. And we were just okay. Why? Because we thought we was winning if you put somebody in office that had an R behind their name. You thought you was winning. But what you didn't realize was they was part of the problem because they the ones helped us lose our freedom. And so when we jumps in this fight, and John, I want you to share, because you got an event coming up also January 13th. And so, you know, and for me, when I travel the state and I meet so many people that's fighting, that's gung-ho, that's ready to battle, because why? This election is not even about Democrat, Republican. This election is about our freedom. You know, we used to hear them say that all the time, but this really is about freedom. Freedom what? Freedom to choose whether you want to wear a mask or not. Freedom to choose if you want to take a vaccine. Freedom to choose if you're going to be able to speak the right thing. If you say the right thing, you got to worry about, they got this new thing called, what is it? Cancel culture council.
Cancel culture.
You know, and so they got all these other stuff to try to force you to act like them. But I love one thing that's on your phone. When you're trying to order something or you're trying to connect something, it asks you a question. Are you a robot? You know, you ever see that? It asks you, are you a robot? Then it'll tell you to pick these light
3 fire hydrants.
Yeah, right. So the phone even have enough sense to ask us, are we robots? and can you think? But our government don't want us to be a thinker. They want us to be robots and just follow along whatever program they put on. So, John, why don't you tell us about the event you guys got coming up on the 13th?
Yeah, well, we're hosting a big event, and mainly it's for some of the main speakers that are running for attorney general and things like that. But to me, kind of getting back to what you said, it's holding those people accountable, looking at their past, what they've done, what they plan to do. Because at the end of the day, you know, they can talk till they're blue in the face, but we need to see some action right now, right? We need people that aren't afraid to go against the grain and take a risk and do what needs to be done. And to me, I think the reason that we're in the place that we're in is because we've become complacent. Like you said, you know, we've just kind of set back and let, as long as the R is there, we think we're okay. But shame on us, because look where we're at right now, and we're fighting a three-headed dragon. So it's very difficult. But this event on the 13th that we are hosting, it's going to be huge. We're going to have a lot of good speakers, and the main thing we want to emphasize is that it's the people's decision. We're not promoting anybody. We're not specifically going at one person. We're putting the information and the people on the front lines, and we're going to let the community make the right decision. And we'll be a part of that decision because we're a part of the community. So to us, it's getting everybody together, getting some key stakeholders together that can represent us the way we deserve to be represented, and hopefully spearhead a new movement.
Yes. And and I'm gonna let Liz speak on what you just said as well, because it's time out for voting in nice guys. We need guerrilla warfare. We need people that does not mind shaking the fence, or some people like to climb the tree to get the fruit. I just like shaking it and letting the fruit fall. And so we need people like that. We need people that's going to be and be bold and be and take those risks, and that is ruffling feathers too, because I used to always say it this way: I am not going to bring a knife to a gunfight. And then you ask me to fight fair. That's not happening.
Right.
So the thing about it is, we don't need nobody that's going to fight fair or fight cute. And so with Faith, Family, Freedom, and you guys done a lot of rallies and medical freedom and those kind of things. So when you look at people, and we gotta be honest, when we look at the parties, we look at everything, and we see what people are doing, and we see the mess that we in. What is, I know for you, it's faith. Well, your whole team is faith first. It got to be God first. And why does it have to be God first?
Well, I think I was actually listening to one of your sermons about 2 Saturdays ago, and I think I had mentioned that, and just using my case because it's my own, and I know it, but having lost my job, um, and having gone through the steps to now, thank God, being approved and going to trial for it. um I was waiting on man and man's laws to come and save me, save me from, you know, being held back, from keeping food on my table, all of these things. And, it took me a few months, even being a believer, to understand that, it's not about men's laws. We are governed by a God, and we are in the state that we're in because we became lawless. So these men that are, when I say men, I, include women as well, but, our current administration, they are um, without law. They are lawless men, and they are running our nation right now on lawlessness. And so I don't foresee us coming out of years and years, because this is years in the making. Um, we're not going to come out of this ahead of the game in any way, shape, or form if we don't bring God back in. It's just not going to happen. And, as I stated before, I started to seek out godly men to support in office. That's our mission, is to assure that we get truth into office so that it can function the way that it was meant to function. So, I mean, that's exactly what I'm aiming to do, and I will do anything I'm at the point right now where it's just, I look around and I'm just seeking out those individuals who are bold enough, who are strong enough, and not to say that other individuals don't have their place in this fight, but I'm really calling out to those who are willing to take the helm of the ship,
Mhm.
because that's what we need right now. We need strong, brave soldiers because we are in a battle right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
No, I agree on that. And I mean, getting to the whole faith aspect, I mean, faith is extremely important. It's been extremely important and a big role in our history, developing who we are today. Faith and a good moral compass and building the foundation of America. We've came a long way, but it's extremely convoluted from when our founding fathers, found America and came here and laid down the law and the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and in God we trust. And we've gotten so big and so bloated that we've really stepped away from that, and it's really sad to see that. Right? It's really sad. But one good thing that comes out of this is that, for one, people recognize the value of faith. They recognize the value of family and friends and our loved ones, and having the capabilities of being self-sustaining. Right? We always preach that at the end of the day, having the abilities and the means to support your family, your friends. You don't need a big company to live your livelihood. You don't need the government to lean on for things. We can all support each other, and we're really starting to recognize and realize that right now. So that's good. And
Yep.
and it's very difficult because we're dealing with not only an extremely large, out of control government, but we're dealing with the technology movement too, right? We're dealing with people that are manufacturing facilities. I see it with my business all the time that they can't find people. The technology is advancing, and we're becoming so tech uh, reliant, right? It's really difficult to pull away from that sometimes. So we need to find some type of happy medium to sustain our initiatives, our movement, our passions, and integrate that with current days and rally like-minded people like we've been doing. I mean, we're such a diverse country. It's becoming more difficult to rally like-minded people because we're so separated, right? And that's what we need to come across, and we need to get the message out that if you're for America, if you understand why this country was formed, why we're still the greatest country, no matter what, you need to understand the foundation of why and how that was built, and how we have the obligation to sustain that now in the midst of all this wreckage, right? So we need to come together and do that, and that's the important thing.
And one of the things that I like is this. People are now recognizing God again. We went away from God. We were so comfortable in just life itself. We would try to acknowledge God on the material things.
Yeah.
But like you say, the moral compass and all of that was just going out the window. And so, it's time to return, back to God. And we have to do it community by community, city by city, state by state. And so one of the things that I'm finding out as I travel this whole state is so many people that believe in God and the country, that they're coming together because, like one of the things that we never really paid attention to, what was the common denominator in everything that was going on in all of our lives? God. That was the common denominator. We might not agree on the same football team. We might not agree, as y'all can see, I saw that we diehards over here. But we might not agree on the same football team. I saw that. Same color, the same color, the same everything. But we can agree on God, we can agree on family, and we can agree on our freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start challenging and trying to take away our God, our family, and our freedom, you done got a fight on y'all hand. You done got a fight on y'all hand. We got another guest coming on. Let me pop her in, and let's see. She's a troublemaker.
I'm a troublemaker. I just left one event. We're showing up to another. but I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. So you guys, this is Jeanette, and she's in the Manitowoc area, and she's a fighter, you know. So go ahead and talk to us a little bit about why you fighting.
Beth, you're on.
I am fighting for our freedom. I met all of you in this fight for freedom. David, I love your Steelers shirt. Go
I prefer
Steelers.
darts, but if you want to embarrass me,
It's not political. We are 100% pro Steelers. But Ruth, I met down in Sheboygan very, very early on in our fight for freedom. John and Brock, we have been connected. We've never met personally, but we are connected in this fight for freedom, and we're not going to quit.
That's right.
Yeah. So you guys, let's talk about that for a minute, because how do y'all feel about you're fighting, but then your neighbor don't even know that there's a fight going on? It's like, have you ever ran into somebody like that? You're really fighting, and then all of a sudden they don't even know there's a fight going on, and then all of a sudden you tell them about the fight, and then they're like, really?
Yep, that happens more often than I would like to admit. But to me, that's my obligation to inform them and educate them. If nobody else will, then I will. We will, right? Take some ownership in your situation. Know your neighbors. I think that's very big. Establish a neighborhood group, which I've done here. We all meet once or twice a month. We have a little neighborhood watch program, and we all communicate that way. And then you introduce things like this to them to help educate them as well. So I think the more once again, I keep saying network, organize, come together, making sure everybody's on the same page, I think the further we can get. Because like you said, nobody knows about a lot of this, and it's kind of sad, but at the same time, I think it's our duty to let them know, and then they can decentralize to their friends for us.
And let me say this before I let the ladies speak. I'm excited to see so many godly men out here in this fight, and women always fight. So I'm giving y'all credit, but to see the men, to really see the men stand up now and really fight, and they're bold about the fight. And I know that's one of Ruth's biggest pet peeves, so I'm gonna let her touch that one first. You're muted, Ruth.
There we go. As Jeanette had mentioned, she met me early on, when all of these mandates first started coming through. It was unfortunate. My situation was probably the year before the mandates came down completely into the healthcare arena. So I was a year a lonesome dove. So I counted it a blessing, although I knew it was coming down the pipeline. I knew that I wasn't going to be alone now. And so it really was a mixture of emotions, realizing that coworkers, people that shared my passion in healthcare were being met with exactly what I was dealing with the year before. And so I decided that I was going to take that year of experience, because it really allowed me to educate myself, to read into the law, to read into, further in detail into these mandates and all of these things. And so when it came down the pipeline, I had something to offer to these individuals who were just starting to get hit. And so what I realized early on was that, yes, there were a lot more women that were actively vocal. I don't want to say involved, because households run differently, but they were vocal. And so it really did kind of rub me the wrong way, because I look to our men. I'm old school. My stepson was telling me today, "Can you beat up dad?" And I said, I don't know. I said, I don't think so. And I said, but I wouldn't really be attracted to somebody, if I could beat them up. So I'm constantly looking to the man of the house, and the men in our community. And I was really saddened to see that there was very little public output, from the men in our community. And so I started to call them out. I became an agitator, and I'm like, well, they may not like what I have to say, but when truth hits home, at the end of the day, like I said, you're not able to sleep. And that's exactly what I wanted. If I'm not sleeping, you're not sleeping. We're all in this together, and we're all going to realize it sooner or later. And I'm so thankful, to God that like you said, Pastor, that so many more are waking up, and we're not alone. There is a huge body of patriots out there.
Yes. Jeanette?
So with that being said, I hope you're not getting too much background noise here. The demasculinization of men has been an interruption in our entire society and in our entire community and in our entire democracy, in our entire republic. I mean, the demasculinization of men has women like Ruth and myself rising up to the battle. The white man does not have a voice anymore. The white man is villainized for having a voice. The white man can't speak his true emotions. And I think that is a huge, huge problem with our democracy. We talk about racism. We talk about agendas. We talk about all kinds of things, but when it comes down to it, the white man has been demasculinized, and when you don't have a man to fight the fight, who is left? Your women.
Okay.
Your women are out there.
I need you to clarify something for me.
Sure,
Are you saying the right man or the white man?
the white man?
The pale face.
Okay.
Yes.
So now clean that to the place where you're talking about us black men as well, because black men doesn't have when you look at government, black men doesn't have a voice. If you go look at child support, black men don't have a voice.
When it comes to our family court system, the entire family court system needs to be obliterated, and we need to build from the ground up. We need to overhaul the entire family court system, because there are so many fathers. I don't care what race you are. Fathers are being eliminated from their child's lives.
Right.
When you eliminate the father.
I just wanted you to clean that up, because you said the white man, but us brothers go through more too now. So we want to make sure that you're talking about man, period, instead of singling out, because the black man's voice, I mean, we're fighting for a voice right now. And man, period. If you're a man in Wisconsin, you got to go through the court system,
right,
you're in trouble.
And unfortunately, we have so many divided families where you have a mother and father who do not live in the same household. And it's becoming normal for us. But there are a lot of women, I don't care what race you are, you have a lot of women that use that to their advantage. And they should not. They should not. We need fathers, we need mothers, we need everybody to focus on the health and well-being of our children.
Well, I say it like this, and then John, I want you to jump in behind me, but I say it like this. Every woman should treat their man as a king when he come home, because of the stuff that we have to put up with out in the streets, and the things we have to take on just to make sure we can bring food to the house and take care of our kids. Every wife, when her husband come home, If he don't feel like a king at home, then you got a problem. He should be able to feel like a king at home. Even though he goes throughout it doesn't matter what color of the man. The man goes through a lot right now.
Yep.
And so when he get home, he should feel like a king at home, and his queen is making him feel so good that he want to go back out and deal with that crap again in the morning.
But there are
Go
so
ahead.
many men out there that are excluded from their child's lives,
Mhm.
whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally. My children are included in that.
Mhm.
Friends, family, they just don't have that mutual respect and that, I don't know, for the child, it hurts me to see the child struggle through it. Because the child is who is truly the one that is being affected by all of this.
Well, you got to understand though, and I like what this person put up there. You got to understand it was designed for the father's job in the home to decrease. LBJ did that. LBJ, when he called himself doing war on welfare, fixed it that the only way the household can get money if the father leaves.
Yep.
So when you're talking about that, it was always part of the government's opportunity to cut off the head, because if he can cut the head off, he got the body. So when you look at it in that thing, the church has become the welfare system and the stepdad. The welfare is the stepdad. And so when you
I
allow
don't know if
government
John
to
has anything to say about this.
go ahead, John.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you. You can finish what you're saying. Go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is when you look at the world design now, the way the world is right now, it is designed to the fact that men can't do nothing right. Women are getting praised for everything.
Yeah.
Men that went out there and started business, we don't get
But do we deserve all that praise?
Huh?
Have we earned all that praise? Do we deserve all that praise?
Okay.
I don't think we do.
Well, wait a minute. Let me say this, and then John, you got to jump in because we got women on here. You ain't gonna get a word in if you don't jump in. But let me
You
say
know
this.
how we women
taking
do,
it
John.
Let
You
me
know
say
how
this.
we women do.
You have to see how the order is, okay? The order of God says God, Christ, man, woman, children. The order of government is government, woman, children, man. It's so out of order right now. So, and why? Because we allowed it. We allowed this stuff to happen.
That's right.
That's why we are doing what we got to do now to make it back right. We got to do our part now to make it back right. And sometimes you got fathers playing stepdad. Why? Because some women are spiteful that they won't even let them be a father to their children.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some men that don't want to be a father. I mean,
That is the biggest problem.
You got to look at.
I think that is the biggest problem in our society is that women have tried to take over control of their children, and I don't think they deserve control of their children. They can't agree to disagree and look past the basic necessities of their children. And this is where it feeds into our public school districts, and it feeds into CRT. It feeds into so many different avenues of our lives. The nuclear family of America is dead. It is dead. The values that we hold.
No, it's not dead. See,
I hope it's not.
It's not dead. See, the problem is when we holler it's dead, that means it ain't nothing to fight for no more.
Right.
That's right.
So it's not dead. We just got to rise up and be that light, be that example.
That is why you are our warrior, you are our fighter, and that's why you are our best lieutenant governor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. But anyway, what I'm saying is, when we look at this, ain't nothing about God's order is dead. Nothing. It's up to us. See, we pray to God to tell him to fix it. God, fix this. God, fix this. And God said, no, I'm not. Ain't nobody who said stop fighting. Ain't nobody fighting among ourselves. This is a healthy conversation. What you talking about? But listen, ain't we praying to God to tell God to fix it? God said, no, you fix it. You have to do what you're supposed to do. If we go around and let everybody and let them continue to take our freedom, God ain't gonna fix that, because God gave all of us a free will to fix it ourselves. So it's up to us to come together and say, you know what? Let's fix this. You know, man's the way God ordained it is dead. No, it's not dead. The ones who got it, the remnant that understand what God is saying, just has to rise up, and that's why
That's right.
that's why everybody is rising up now. That's why you got all these patriots groups rising up, and all these patriot groups has one thing in common: God, family, and then their freedom. That's why they can come together. And you know what? Nobody is trying to make a name for themselves. They all is in this fight for one reason only: we the people. And that's it. Go ahead, John.
No, that's right. You got about 5 different things you guys talked about there, and I'm trying to just take it all in from so many different directions. But, you know, as far as going back to the guys, the king and all that, you know, I to a point, believe that, but at the same time, I think that's earned, right? I mean, I don't just think that should be a given to a man or to a woman or anybody that's raising kids or even just being themselves. You know, when you come home, you're part of a nucleus, like you talked about. You're part of a network of people that you need to come home. You love, it's your family. You all rely on each other. You all have certain aspects of what you do to make that situation work, right? So it takes everybody. I mean, yeah, the typical role of a guy is the protector, the breadwinner. But we've come to a point now in society where that's both roles, you know? So I just think we need to take ownership as parents once you become a parent, that it's no longer just about you. And I think you touched on that, right? Everything you do is going to impact those children, and how you display some things at home and how you act and how you present everything, and your moral compass is going to be directly related to your kids. So I just believe that, yeah, when you come home after a long day, you know, everybody's had a long day, and you do what you can do to help each other to get through that day. And at the end of the day, your family is there. And I've always, you know, second off for trying to change everybody and change society, the way I look at it is you focus and work on the ones that you can change, that want to hear the message. I've always been plan for the worst and hope for the best. You know, if you want peace, prepare for war. I've always been in a type of constant state of suspicious alertness, because I've seen what can happen to a country or a people when they become complacent and they get their rights taken away. I've seen that, and that will never happen here as long as myself and 100,000 of my brothers and sisters are still alive, right? So those are the kind of things that I look at in the daily society. It's screwed up. Everybody knows that. The welfare system, the child support system. Now that I have 3 boys, every time I see something with a kid where a child's struggling and all this stuff, it really hits home, and it pulls on my heartstrings, right? Because I know, you know, I look at that as that's my little kid in that situation and how I would feel. So I'm a real big advocate of trying to fight for just adults taking ownership of their situation and realizing it's not just about them when there's kids involved. And as far as the system goes, what I've learned is who we elect locally is going to play a huge impact on that. And I look at Florida and look at the governor. The governor is so important in orchestrating what can happen in your state. And I see the things that DeSantis is doing and all that, and it's like, man, he's doing the right thing. He's got a lot of power to bring back to the people and to centralize what's right, you know. And I think we need to really get back to that. You know, not relying on the federal government. If they're doing the wrong thing, guess what? As states, we can do what's right for our people. We have the constitutional right to do what's right. And if we have right leadership in place to do that, then they can shield us from a lot of that BS.
You know,
So yeah, those are things that I just kind of think about. And the big thing is organizing the people around you, organizing the patriots, and keeping that group together, communicating and self-sustaining.
Yeah. And my thing is, with the Patriots groups and all of that is my prayer for them, for every group, is nobody get the spirit of haughtiness, that everybody stay humble and stay working together.
Yep.
Because you know, if you know, Lucifer got haughty, and he convinced a third of the angels to go against their creator. You know, they lost, but you know, he was able to convince them. Why?
Right.
Because of his own self gain. You know, and so you know, we all have to check our hearts to make sure our hearts stay pure for the fight. That we're not trying to make a name for ourselves or anything. I tell people all the time on the campaign trail, this is bigger than me. This is not about me. This is bigger than me. And when I start fighting from the inside, when I look back, then I expect you guys to be right there with me when I start to fight from the inside, you know, because it's not about me. It's actually, I can say it this way. It's not about Ruth. It's not about Jeanette. It's not about John, but it is about your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. It's about them. And if we are mature enough to lay aside petty stuff, that we can go ahead and, like you say, prepare for the battle, get in the battle, even when it's peacetime, still fighting, still standing, because why? The moment we close our eyes, the moment we sleep, the moment we go to Disney World, they done snuck in again and done something else to us.
That's right.
Right.
And that's just it. I mean, believing in your cause, believing in our Constitution, believing in the foundations of our country is the only way we're going to get through this. Without believing in those foundations, and the left is trying their very best, and they are succeeding at eliminating those beliefs. I mean, we don't even know what gender is anymore when you talk about our elementary school students. In our small little Wrightstown, Wisconsin, I mean, there's traffic coming by. They're a small little district, and they are allowing transgender bathrooms. Again, sorry for the traffic. They're allowing transgender bathrooms. I want my 10-year-old to be able to go to school without having to worry that a boy is going to come into the bathroom while she's there. You know, they keep telling us, oh, believe in the science, trust the science. They don't believe in science. They don't believe in COVID science. They don't believe in forensic science. They don't believe in gender science. You know, they don't believe in any of this science.
Right.
This is a literal attempt at brainwashing our country, and we need to overcome this. But how do you go about waking up hundreds of millions of people?
Well, I like if I can chime in quick, I think it all gets back to your local movements, right? So if your local school is doing something you don't agree on, get your local parents engaged, get them involved, and get them on that school board meeting, or get the school board out of there like we've tried to do. It's extremely difficult in these situations, but you get the people together, you rally them together, and at the end of the day, you fight the good fight. If it doesn't go in your favor, then it's your ownership as parents to teach your kids the right thing. Like my kids, like my little guy Jackson last week, they have a gender neutral bathroom, and he goes, Dad, which one do I use? I said, son, you're a boy. You look at the boy symbol. That's the one you use. In an emergency, if that one's taken, don't go in the girls one. You can go in this middle one as long as nobody's in there. But I think that's our job as parents to teach them that, hey, it's out there, but what the true meaning of a boy and a girl is this, right? That's our duty as parents, and our duty also is to teach them and let our schools know that if anything that they put out is unacceptable, they're going to be held accountable to it, right? Yes. And they work for us. We pay the salaries. We just need to organize and do the right thing. And it was an eye-opener for me, even on the mask mandates, when all of our kids, the school said, hey, they're all going to wear masks no matter what. We created a Facebook group, 800 people on there. And the day came to where we had to send our kids to school, and it was myself and one other parent were the only two parents that sent our kids to school without a mask, and our kids got suspended out of the whole 800. So I looked back and I chalked that up as a lessons learned, that what could I have done better to get these parents engaged to help us fight the battle, you know? So that's a big situation for me and us locally here, is how do we get everybody engaged and willing to take the risk for the greater good of our liberties. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here, and that's what we all need to look at and say: how do we engage the people to come together as one and stop this madness? Yeah.
I think you had mentioned, John, about accountability.
Hmm.
And, that's why it's so important for us to start in our own communities.
Yes.
People know us. We were born, raised, grew up with people. They know our lives, more so in smaller communities. But, I guess for myself, um, there's just so much, that I had to do a lot of soul searching within myself, fixing things within the four walls of my home, so that, not necessarily that, our lives are perfect, but that we are demonstrating that we are moving forward, and we're taking accountability for those things that would inhibit us from moving forward. And, um, I just had, and again, only because, you're in the nitty gritty of the situation, but, you know, um, I've been separated from my son's father. We were married for 11 years, separated in 2017, and I never got a divorce. I'm currently living with another man. We've been together for 2.5 years, and we were quite comfortable.
Mhm.
I chose not to get a divorce because financially I said, well, you know, there's no need for it. I work for money and he has insurance, and I don't want the state having to take care of my son. Right.
Right.
And so we chose to take responsibility of that life that we created. But then again, fast forward, okay, this isn't about men's laws. This is about God's law. So
Mhm.
it's not about me being comfortable in men's laws, because to the person next door, they really don't care how I'm living.
Right.
Right. They're not having to put food on my table and everything's taken care of, so they don't care. They don't have much to say. But God has a lot to say about it.
Mhm.
Right. And so, speaking openly and taking responsibility means that I need to focus on getting my divorce and getting my house in order, so
Sure.
that we can have a godly home, so that we are found doing what's right and good and just. Because I can't expect for God to listen to me in my time of need, when I'm down on my knees, when He's already established law and I am not following it. And so it's about accountability in
Mhm.
everything that we do. And how do we reach other people? There's no greater way to reach other people but for them to see you triumph in those
Mhm.
things, because they're all living through the same things.
Right.
We're all just people, you know and that's the victory. And when we establish God's laws here on the land, and we are victorious and we shout it out, that's the proclamation that it's not dead. It
Yes.
is much alive.
Mhm. Right. Right. People see that, and like you said, that gives them the courage. Hey, she's doing it. It helped for her. Guess what? I'm going to do this now. And
Yep.
it's a domino effect, and that's what we really need to focus on.
Yeah.
Getting your foundation built at home, decentralizing it to the people around you, giving everybody the courage to do it and doing it.
That's
So
right.
we have a question, you guys. I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow.
Who want to touch it first?
Yeah. Well, obviously we've seen with the election and everything, and not only just the election, but on a more local level, our school boards, everybody thinks they have the power to do what they want and not listen to the people. And it's been, and like I said, I keep saying this, shame on us for letting it get to this point, right?
Hmm.
So I want to take ownership and say, you know what? We've been complacent too long, and people are still happy in their situations even now, and that's the struggle we deal with now. People are happy in their comfort zone and they don't want to get out of it, and I can't blame them. But we really need to organize, and we need to be that voice of the people, by the people. And when voting time comes, that's our power, to go out there, to vote the people out that aren't doing our jobs and vote the people in to represent America. I mean, that's what I'm trying to focus on, and we're trying to focus on at the Freedom Fighters here is getting the people and the numbers out there to make that difference. But we need to get their buy-in. We need to get their motivation to get out there and do that. So we're constantly having to rally people up to do that. You know, that's the struggle, is getting everybody. That, you know, we got 6,000 members on Facebook, but we get 35, 40, maybe 60 at a group meeting. So that's things we need to do as leaders of these groups, to motivate people to come out, get out of their comfort zone, and use your voice and your power of the American vote to get these people out and our people in. And when I say our people, I mean Americans representing America.
Yes.
I guess the way that I see it, you know, and I think Pastor had touched on this at opening as well, and it's constantly checking ourselves.
Uh-huh.
How do we bypass, you know, all of those things that hinder us from actually coming together? And we have to check ourselves, because I'll tell you, you know, when I'm looking online daily, and even in my own, you know, reaction to other people, when, you know, I feel that what I'm saying is right, and it's right, and it's right, and there's nothing you can tell me I'm right, you know, you know, we have to be able to humble ourselves, and,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe it's not that we're incorrect, but it's just finding the right words and the dialogue, for the dialogue to open, and not being so hard-headed, and not being so obtuse about things, you know. I know that, you know, I can definitely work on that more. But when we're talking about trying to merge, you know, two different parties, all of this stuff, you know, man, it is a task, but it's not something that cannot be done. Why? Because we have relationships in our
Mhm.
communities. People trust us, despite, you know, our differences in views. They trust that we wouldn't do something to harm them, and we need to start engaging with people on a personal level. Invite them out for coffee,
Yeah.
you know, and see people for who they are. Why do you feel this way? You know, tell me what you've experienced in your life, so that I can relate to it, so I can try to understand, versus, you know, just pushing, you know, an agenda, because it's just not going to work that way. Nobody
Right.
wants to be told what to do.
Right. And you know,
100%.
I look at it this way. Y'all ready for this? John, if you know, you're gonna get to know me, John. I always use a different analyses, all kind.
Okay.
So I'm gonna use a football analogy right now for this. And this is the biggest problem that that they miss out on. Okay. How many teams on the football field at one time?
Two.
How many?
Two.
See, y'all got the same problem they got. And you know why? Because there's
Right.
not two teams on the field.
Seriously?
Yeah. You ready for it?
Yeah. Educate us.
All right. There's three teams on the field. You got the home team, the visiting team, and the referees.
Like the referee.
So watch this. You got the Democrats, you got the Republicans, and then you got the Americans. The two teams forgot that there's another team on the field. Who controls the game? The third team. Who controls the election? The third team.
Thank you for the analogy, Pastor. Now I won't
Yeah.
forget.
See, and that's the problem. We
Yeah.
focus on two parties, like the Packers and the Bears, but you got to remember, the referees control that game.
Right.
The referee can call one call, and the game is over for the other team, for either team. So, as an American, and those of us that that believe in our freedom. See, the problem with what they're thinking is they're just thinking far right people is calling themselves patriots. No. You got some Democrats that's calling themselves patriots. You got some libertarians that's calling themselves Americans. You got independents that's calling themselves American. See, and they forget that. So both teams done got out of touch with the third team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we have right
True.
now.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we forget we the third team. We can make one call. Virginia did it. Virginia made one call. Republicans didn't win Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's a good analogy.
That is a really good analogy. I'm gonna sleep on that one.
Well, I figured y'all would do that. Somebody asked another question. They said, what if the two team controls the election fraud? That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
But if the third team would put some poll watchers in there, I don't care what name you got to go under. I don't care if you got to go under D. I don't care if you got to go under R. Just become an American poll watcher.
Yep. And I'm a firm believer of fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? Lessons learned.
Yeah.
Chalk it up. Now we know what we need to do to prevent what happened. Even though we can't rely on some of the higher ups to get it done, guess what? We can get it done. Boots on the ground. We know what needs to happen. So
right. And you know, in Virginia, there was no voter fraud. There was no fraud in Virginia. So if there was no fraud in Virginia, then we can do the same thing.
Yeah.
We can't just sit back and just accept whatever they say anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've been doing. We've been trusting them. I used to like to use an analogy on the street. I'm gonna use a street analogy this time. Y'all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
If a person don't know where to go buy their drugs, and they run into somebody that do know where to go buy the drugs, and they say, "Stay here, and I'll go get it." Are they coming back with all of it?
Right.
Not at all. Because they know I'm going to beat this guy.
Yep.
But if you say, I'm going with you,
that's right.
Then they can't cheat no more. Yeah. And the problem we having is we letting them go buy for us. We letting them go get for us. And every time they come back, we get the short end.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I say it all the time. We're giving them 100 and they're giving us back 10, So.
Yeah. Somebody says, is there a difference between the two teams? Well, as a voter, what have we been saying lately? The lesser of the two evils. So if they both evil is evil.
Yeah, it depends on who wants it more. Who's going to tooth and nail it more? Who's got the better skill? There's a lot of factors in it that we now realize the importance of those factors, right? So.
Right. And just like you said earlier, John, we allowed this to happen. Why?
Yeah.
Because both sides, we've been letting them push their agenda on us, right? And telling us what they're going to do for us instead of us telling them what we want them to do.
Right. We definitely, I know a lot of people, a lot of other groups out there, a lot of people that have been silent that don't really say much because they rely on the Second Amendment. And they say, well, when it comes down to it, we still got our guns and we can fight whatever we need to fight. And that's a mentality I try to get people out of because we need to stop it before it gets to that.
Right.
We never want that to happen. Look at the past. We never want anything like that to happen again. So just because we have that right and we can use it doesn't mean we have to use it. We can use this, instead of this. So that's what we need to focus on.
Yes. And if we use, here's the thing that I always like to say. Y'all know I got a lot of sayings, but I just like saying them. I say it this way. We have been using permanent solutions for a temporary problem.
Yep.
So if we have to go to the Second Amendment, that means we we done took a permanent solution for a temporary problem, and all we got to do is go to the ballot box. All we got to do is put in the people we want in office, from dog catcher all the way up to governor. It's our choice. But if we choose not to make that choice, then we ain't got no business fussing and complaining.
That's right.
So, it's on us,
Yeah.
and we just got to accept it. We've been bamboozled. We've been lied to every 4 years. Election time comes. They tell us what they're going to do. And what happens? We don't hear from them until the next election.
Yep. And they're walking on easy street, and that's not going to happen anymore.
Yes. And this is why, we have to, and let me see, I'm trying to see the name on, because some of them, their name don't come up. Cody Wells put this up.
Oh yeah.
So, this is something that what we have to do. People will say, well, did you do anything? They ain't doing nothing. What did you do? Did you send an email? Did you go visit your alderperson, your state rep, your state senator? People don't realize in America how much power people have.
Right.
Do you know you can sue Evers if he don't meet with you?
100%. He's
Yeah.
obligated to do that.
He's obligated. Don't they know that if Biden don't want to meet, you can sue them for not meeting? Do we understand our rights?
Yeah.
You have to meet with us.
Yeah, and I think that's a big gap right there. What you just said is a lot of people. I mean, and the thing is, it kind of I get a little anxious about is that it's all the information is out there for free. All you got to do is Google it. Look at the Wisconsin Constitution. Look at your state's Constitution. It's all out there, and it holds everybody in their elected positions accountable for what they can and can't do. It's just us taking the time to educate ourselves instead of relying on attorneys that half of them won't even take a phone call or email from us. So we need to instill the power in ourselves to do our own diligence to know these laws.
Yeah. And we have to tell people, you know what? I don't want to hear no more excuse. You work for me.
Yeah.
And if you work for me, I expect to see you.
Yep.
The alderman when in the city of Milwaukee, if you call them and they'll say, their assistant will ask you, do you live in the district? And if you say no, and so you'll say no, well, they don't have time to talk to you because you didn't vote them in office.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, okay, well, they ain't gonna have to worry about it because I get enough people to vote against them and then jump in that race,
Yep.
So all we got to do is let them know. Every event I go to and there's a form, I tell the people, I say, we're interviewing for you guys. This is an interview.
Right.
We are interviewing that you guys will hire us to be the next lieutenant governor, state treasurer, state representative, whatever. But we are interviewing. So stop letting us tell you what we're going to do and listen to you tell us what you want done.
Yeah. Right.
And if we start taking that approach, and turning that power back into our hands as individuals who's really concerned about freedom, things will change. And it won't take a long time for it to change.
Yeah.
Because those who want to be career politicians will start listening to the people.
Right. Yep.
But those that don't, they'll leave.
Mm-hmm.
And those are some of the things that we need to realize and to accept, to say, you know what? We need people that's going to walk in integrity. If they walk in integrity, then lobbyists is not going to change their mind.
That's right.
Because you got lobbyists out there and everything, and they'll spend a lot of money to get the person they want in there so they can do those favors and things like that. But at the same time, though, you have to look at it like this and say, you know what? The Bible teaches me, what profit a man to gain the whole world but to lose his soul? Or what would he give in exchange for his soul? So I can't sell. My soul is not for sale. It already belonged to Christ.
Right.
I'm so glad you you started drinking some water because you know what it sounded like, right?
Terrible. Sorry.
Uh,
I was
No.
I was trying to figure out how to serve myself some water with one
Oh,
hand.
no,
I was
you
like, do I
good.
use
You
my
good.
foot?
I know we were like, wait a minute, what's that? So, but I think that as we educate, like you said, it's all about education. It's about the information. And you start giving people that information and say, okay, this is what's happening. And I tell people all the time, I know some people joined in the fight last year, and that's good. I'm glad they're in the fight. That's perfect. I said, but most people, when we get into the fight, it's because a fight knocked on our door.
That's right.
Now it's time for us to go knock on its door and say, you know what? You started it. We're here, and we're about to finish it.
yeah. Get on that offensive. I like it.
Yes.
That's what I said. You messed with the wrong girl. You left me without a job and nothing to do, and I went and learned myself up.
That's right.
And what do you
Persevere.
do with all of that?
Yeah. And so and one of the things that I love, because y'all will be able to see each other face to face on Friday, but I want everybody that I know that's a group, I try to connect them with the next group. And why? Because as you're building the wall from where you at, you got some people on the other side that's building the wall too, that if you need that support, y'all can come together and say, okay, let's bring in 100,000 patriots and let patriot freedom fighter Americans. Let's just use the word Americans. I don't want to use. So let's just say Americans. We bring 100,000 Wisconsinites. Is that better?
There we go.
100,000 Wisconsinites together and say, you know what? Enough is enough.
Right.
and
That's what it takes.
And then that 100,000 will turn to 200,000 real quick. Why? Because the other 100,000 who want to fight but don't know how to fight or don't know when to jump in the fight will automatically jump in that fight.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. We'll lead the way.
Agreed.
Let's see. Okay, let's see this. Next question.
Consuming the young folks. Well, let me tell you what I mean. The way I see it, if there's violence in my streets in my community, for one, first and foremost, I'm going to protect myself and my family, and my loved ones. Right? We need to have the means and capability to do that. And two, if that ever happens, we need to make damn sure that we have a sheriff that we elect in that will take care of us and protect our constitutional rights. They're the first line of defense in anything like
That's
that,
right.
that happens. And we can be the secondary to defend our own, to defend our family and loved ones, because it's our community. We are here. We do not condone that, but at the same time, we will not allow it. So that's the approach that I take with that. We all have to have the means and capability to take care of ourselves, take care of our neighbor, take care of our community. If you don't have that, I would hate to say to rely 100% on the police, but you need to start thinking about how you can restructure yourself to support and sustain yourself against that.
Yeah, I don't even think that sheriffs understand the weight that they carry.
Their power,
They
it's
are
tremendous.
so vital.
Mhm.
And I noticed that, I don't want to point any fingers about any communities or anything, but they hold a lot of weight, and when they're not, taking responsibility, a lot could just be solved between the sheriff and the problem.
That's
But
right.
then, if you don't have somebody who's willing to act, then that's when the people come in, and that's where we start to see violence.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other end of that, when you look at the violence, you got to ask the question, why? And when for example, I'll take Milwaukee, for example. When you have a generation that been pushed out of school with no skills, no reading, no writing, don't know how to do math, and you turn them out into the streets, and they can't go fill out an application to get a good job. They're angry, and being angry, you take it out on anybody, you know. So you probably have a good kid that just frustrated with no hope. So as a person of God, we have to find out why, and we got to have those conversations with them. Okay, what's the problem? What is it that you want out of life? You know, when I do classes with them to teach them the culture of a company, because that's what one of the things that I do. I always ask them, how many of y'all have a goal? And they all raise their hands. And then I say, how many of y'all goals on paper? And a lot of hands go down. And then I ask, who in your circle, your immediate circle that you hang with, can help you get to that goal? And they said, some of them, a majority of them say nobody. Then why are you in that circle?
That's right.
You know, you have to get away from them to go and, you know, and attach yourself to someone that's trying to go, that is where you trying to go. If
That's
you
right.
got to own a business, go hang out with a business owner.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with them, right? But one of the things that I'm also finding out is this. A lot of things in Milwaukee, they don't help people because they make money off of people paying.
For sure.
So they don't have that real support that they need. So in the long run, what we have to do is we have to engage with them to give them hope, because the hope with those of us that belong to God, the hope is within us. So we have to go out there and be willing to sow a seed, which it might be our time or it might be our knowledge, to help them to start to dream again and want to live.
Right.
And so a lot of violence can be slowed down just by us giving them a hand up, not a handout. I don't believe in handouts, but I believe in a hand up, because a Catholic brother gave me a hand up. He gave me keys to a gym. So all my idle time, instead of going to get in trouble, I went and played basketball.
Yep.
You know, and they don't have those kind of places too much here in Milwaukee. You know, so when you look at the violence, and then you go talk to somebody, like I go to Dodge and we do Bible class at Dodge and all that. And when you talk to those people, you know, they be like, I messed up. I was acting out of anger, or I was doing something stupid, and I was trying to feed my family, or I just was hanging with the wrong group, you know? And you'd be like, okay, so what did you learn from it? But a lot of them, even though they learned from it, they got 40, 30, 40, 50-year sentences. So, you know, so what we have to look at is, how can we intercept the next one getting that 50 years?
Yeah, that's a challenge all on its own.
Yep. It's definitely a challenge, but it's one that is worth fighting for. It's definitely one where we can even shrink government, right? And then shrink government to the fact where we can do other things instead of allowing government to steady grow and grow and grow. For example, you know, they got this thing called Big Brother and Big Sisters. I'm glad they spending time with those kids. But but the problem is, you take them away for an hour and a half to 2 hours, but then they got to come back into that. So we got to fix that before they come back there, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to focus on, and again, a lot of the violence comes from the young people. And why is that? Is because the government done tied the parents' hands that they're not allowed to even discipline their children.
Yeah, I agree to that to a point. I mean, if my child is out of hand and they need to be disciplined and they need to be spanked or whatever, that's going to happen. And I've spanked my kids a lot, but guess what? I'm the first one that they come to and say, Daddy, I love you, and all of that, because they realize when I do that, I don't just do it. I explain to them why I'm doing it, why you can't act like this, why it's not acceptable. Why did you get a spanking? You know, why did daddy have to do that? It makes me sad to do it. Why did I have to do it? This is why.
Right.
And they learn, and you have to instill some type of discipline. Not saying you have to spank them or do something that to where they get the point across. Don't just yell at them. Don't scream at them. Don't just hit them. Explain to them that why this is happening, why they cannot act that way. Be the parent and be that mentor to them, you know?
Right. And you know, the reason I say it like that is this. The law they created is called the child abuse law. And there's no distinguish between abuse and discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, and I just use Milwaukee. Child go to school, he upset. Teacher, what you upset for? My mama punished me. Right? And all she probably did was took the PlayStation. That's abuse.
Yeah.
So now your government coming in your house to see. That's something we got to stop.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, you know. It got to that point for a reason, because there were kids really getting abused out there, and somebody had to step in.
Right.
So we need more reform and more oversight. I think that's the problem too. All these caseworkers, everything, they're extremely overworked. They have extremely too many cases. They can't take the time they need. And between that and the parents, it's a struggle. I mean, that like I said, that's a struggle all in its own with society.
Yep. And then I know a lady, a couple of them, that their kids was taken out the house, and the house they put them in, they got molested.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sad thing that happens way too often.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very sad.
All right, I'm gonna put up a couple more comments before we and then that.
Respect for authority. Yep. No bail type of situation. I think that gets back to taking ownership in your local government.
Right.
Who decides what's bail or what's not bail, or who gets what bail? Find out who that is and find out who they work for and how to get that changed. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, when for example, I use me for an example.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how to act. I was raised in a house where my father would give you a hard lesson on how to act, how to be respectful, you know. But then there was times where I went in a far country on the other side of town where nobody knew who my father was, and I clowned, you know. I act a nut, right? But I used to always say, if I ever got picked up by the police for anything, I would have asked that police officer, do y'all got any cold cases? Because I knew going home, that man had to pick me up.
Yeah.
It was over. You know, I knew that. And back then, the only reason I'm whooping you is because I love you. Yeah, right. Really? This is love? But that love kept me out of war pond.
That's right.
You see? And our kids, even my son, I tell my son all the time, I say, listen, I'm going to do you like God does. If you do good, I'm going to bless you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do bad, I got to deal with you.
Yeah.
You know, I got to deal with you. And the thing about it is, you know, it all depends on how that is. I'm going to let you express yourself. I'm going to let you tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
But I remember the time he got in trouble at school for fighting. And I picked him up from school. We driving. I'm like, you want to explain this fight? He said, well, Daddy, you told me don't start the fight, but if anybody hit me, I had the right to hit them back. I said, yeah, you did. That's self-defense. He said, well, that's what I was doing. I said, no, what you did was retaliation. I said, that wasn't self-defense. That was retaliation. He said, what are you talking about? I said, the boy hit you, right? He said, yes. And the teacher saw him hit you, right? Yes. And she said she was going to take care of it, right? He said, yeah. I said, and the boy ran, right? He said, yes. I said, what did you do? I ran after him. That's retaliation.
Yeah.
So we have to, we got to be able to break it down to them and let them know. No, you just took my word, and what you did was you try to use it, but even though you was retaliating, and that's the thing that you cannot do. You cannot retaliate. You have to. Now, if somebody is trying to jump on you, you have the right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, but when it's get to that point, that's retaliation.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and so we have to teach our kids and let them understand. I always I'm a firm believer of speaking your mind.
Mhm.
You know, share what you feel. It might cause a problem, it might not cause a problem, but I don't want you ever. That's how people get cancer, and that's how people get become suicidal, because they don't never express themselves or say what's really on their mind, and they hold too much stuff in.
Right.
And so speak your mind. I mean, this is why we're in the mess we're in now, because
Yep.
nobody speaks their mind.
Yep. No, that's good advice, especially to the kids, and like you said, the things we need to understand, and that I teach even my kids, is that the reason I'm doing this now, it might seem hard now, is because when you get older, especially nowadays, there's not going to be very many second chances like there was even when I was growing up. There's
There is no more second chance.
no, very little black and white in the law right now. You get caught behind the wheel, you make a bad decision, you drink, that's going to affect your life. You go hit and you kill somebody, that your life is affected by that. You make a wrong decision, punch somebody and get sued and go to jail, that those kind of things will be very detrimental to your life and our life as a family. I said, it's not, whatever you do affects all of us, right? And I try to influence them that whatever any one of us do affects each other. We always look out for each other. We protect each other. And before we think we're going to do something stupid, think about how it's going to affect us and your brothers and our family. So
Okay.
I try to instill that.
I'm gonna have Ruth give her final words, and I'm gonna say goodnight to her.
Right.
So I'm gonna let her say her final words.
Well, I'm just completely engulfed in all of this. There's absolutely nothing that's going to stop the agitation from this girl in this community.
Good.
And a lot of people are aware of that. I don't want to be voiceless. I know that I have something to contribute. I know that there's many others who have gifts that they can contribute as well to our community. And so, as I mentioned before, my goal is to seek out these individuals and hosting these rallies and just being able to reach out and speak with other individuals who are like-minded. I know that we are able to do so much. And, just this past 2 weeks, with the stay of the Biden mandates and all of that stuff, we have so much coming down the pipeline.
Mhm.
And it is, people get distracted with things, but there's a lot of great stuff happening right now. And we just need to stay focused.
Yeah.
We need to stay focused on the important things and press forward so that we're prepared. I want to be
Mhm.
prepared for the major issues, and then just work our way backwards. But, we have some fantastic things happening. I'm hoping to share some of that on Friday at the rally.
Good.
So yeah, I'm just want to encourage anybody who's listening. If you haven't been active in your community, take a role. Just
Mhm.
ask, what can I do? And there's always something. There is always something, and we would love to have you. Whether it be in our groups or just being supportive, attending these rallies, being someone to help spread the word. Just fantastic. We need so many people to rally up And so that may be you. And if it's you, just reach out.
100%.
Yes. All right. And again, we at the Lakeshore Lanes on Friday in Sheboygan, and we would love for you guys to come on out and hear all the amazing speakers that's going to be speaking out there. We have some little hors d'oeuvres like we had last time. Y'all can nibble while you listen. So, and
Good.
those of you that like cocktails, the bar would be open. So I want to say that to y'all as well. You know, people like, oh, the bar. Yeah, the bar would be open for those that drinks, those that want to have a drink, you know. So we just want you guys to come out and enjoy us. Those of you are in the Kenosha area, we will be in Kenosha tomorrow night at Baker Street Restaurant. So we want you guys to come out there 6:00 tomorrow night and join us. So we're excited. I know Ruth has to go. John, I want to ask you a couple of more questions before you leave.
Okay.
You guys have a good night.
All right. We
You
love
too,
you.
Ruth.
And I'll
Thank
see
you.
you Friday.
Look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. Have a good
All
night.
right.
God bless.
God bless. Okay, now, John, I want to ask you.
Really love starting my mornings.
So for Freedom Fighter Central Wisconsin, besides the rally, what's next for you guys?
Well, obviously, what's next? We have a Christmas party coming up that we will be putting on our Facebook page. You know, if anybody doesn't know that page, it's Freedom Fighters of Central Wisconsin on Facebook, or we'll be putting the events on ffcw.us, which is our website. So that's coming up this weekend for a Christmas party. But to me, I think the big thing as far as what's next is we've actually partnered with a communications group. It's called Text App, and if nobody's familiar with that, I guess what it does is we have a special code or a passphrase that we have everybody that wants to become a member to the Freedom Fighters group on our website. We're actually going to provide them with a number and that code, and that's going to provide a communications text network. If something goes on, they shut down Facebook, they shut down our website, we will be able to still relay information, critical information, messages via text. So we now that we've refined our membership status and our one level, everybody that comes on and becomes a member is going to have that option, that text option for communication through the group. So it's really exciting, really good times, a lot of good organizational things going on that we're really happy about. A lot of people get involved, but we need more. You know, I always say the financial and the physical. Can't give one, give the other. We need everybody's support. We've already gotten some good support, but we need it for sustainability. So the next thing for us is an exciting 2022, I would say. In the interim, everybody, we stress, enjoy your family, enjoy the holidays, take time away, take a mental break from everything if you can, and just enjoy your loved ones and your friends through the holiday season. We'll get back after it in 2022. A lot of good things coming up with hosting and networking, like Dr. King. So it's exciting to be a part of this group and this movement right now. So it's a really humbling situation to be in.
Yes, I'm excited too, on what's going on, even with the Wisconsin Revival Rally.
Yep.
We're going to be doing some outside in the spring and summer. We're going to be out in parks across the state. So I'm excited. I'm even next week, Thursday, I'm up in Washburn, Shell Lake.
Okay.
I'll be up in Shell Lake with the Washburn Patriot group up there.
Perfect.
I'll be speaking with them. I connected Terry and Brock together so they can meet. Like I say, everywhere I go and I see a group, I'm going to say, hey, have you met so-and-so them? Or have you met so-and-so them? Why? Because it's important to know that you're not fighting by yourself. It's important to know that your work is not even in vain,
Right.
Because a lot of times when we look at things, we would like, man, this is in vain. No, it's not. There's so many people out there that want to fight. you know,
Right.
or just want to support, or just let you know they praying for you if they can't do nothing, you know.
Yes.
And so that's really important that we're doing that we're getting people to connect the dots and say, hey, you're not the only freedom fighter, you know. Again, my biggest prayer is that everybody stay humbled
Yes.
and knowing that this is something that God is trying to do. But if our flesh or if our pride get in the way, then we start fighting among one another's, and then, you know, and then we lose everything. So
Yes.
so, you know, so my biggest thing is that everyone begin to network.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna put this up. Cody Wells put this.
That's right. Networking is important, you know, and Dr. King, like you said, I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to communicate and bring together the groups. And I've always been a firm advocate of checking your ego and just letting people know that the sum is more than the parts, right? It's about the movement. It's about our standpoint as Americans and where we need to go. It's not about any individual. It's about us moving forward as Americans for the right reasons. And I completely agree, and I do the same thing you do. You know, any other leaders of any groups, you try to bring them together, network, organize. I stress that a lot, is organize, to be able to combat a lot of things that come at us.
Yes, and unity is so powerful right now because we're
Yes.
fighting individually right now.
Yeah.
You know, so many people that's already in office think it's about them, and you know, and so we have to come together and be unified to say, you know what, it's not about you.
Yeah.
But we're going to show you it ain't about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Absolutely.
and you know, and when we get our freedom, when we get everything back in order, then we can go have those little patty fights on who baby is the cutest or who got the best card, you know, who yard grass is greener, you know. Then we can go back to those kind of fights. Right now, all that stuff is on the shelf.
That's
and
right.
we got to focus on the main goal, and that's making sure that we, the people, are back in charge of everything, our government, everything.
And like you said, it's about the faith, the family, the freedoms. That's what we need to focus on is the big picture. So
yes,
this is great.
Yeah, and this is why we do the Wisconsin Revival Rally with pastors and patriots to let people know we all in this together. You
That's
know,
right.
I tell people all the time, I am a 21st century Black Road Regiment, you know, and I'm finding out there's a lot more that's out there. I found 2 in Madison, then 1 in Green Bay, and 1 in Oconomowoc, 1 in where is he at? He's Stephen Point, and then I just found another one. So there's, you know, when you fighting, you be thinking, if we the only ones, and then all of a sudden God said, no, I got a remnant, so I'm gonna call the remnant together. Right. And we're gonna pull it together as the remnant. You know, I tell people all the time, it's not about black, white, brown. It ain't about that. It's about us being Americans.
That's
and
right.
Once we come together as Americans, then we're gonna show the world what happens when Americans come together. You know, and that's what I'm looking for right now. That's the thing about it. You know.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing, one of my biggest things is this. We've been saying we need God back in government. Putting the 10 commandments on the wall is not putting God back in government.
That's right.
We have to put godly men and women in office so we can get God back in government. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm running to make sure God is back in government. Because without God in our government, we're going to have chaos. We're going to have bitterness. We're going to have hatred. We're going to have darkness. We're going to have it all. But with God, we got light. We got unity. We got peace. You know, that's why the Bible says when the righteous are in office, the people rejoice.
Mm-hmm.
But when the wicked, the people mourn. I'm tired of mourning.
Right.
I'm ready to rejoice. I'm ready to see things happen. You know, I'm ready to be able to let my son be a son and my daughter be a daughter. You know, move that gender crap out of the way. Move that color fight out of the way. Move that all that craziness out of the way. I want to argue over who grass the greenest. Who 4th of July or who Christmas lights is the biggest.
Mhm.
Those are the things that we supposed to be. Those are the arguments we supposed to be having.
Right.
Not this stuff that we got to deal with now. And like you say, we've been sleep. I tell people this way, John. I say the problem we had was we voted in Republicans and then we went to Disney World.
Yeah.
Thinking everything was great, like we don't won the fight. And I'm looking like, wait. We're in the greatest country in the world, the most freest country in the world, and we're standing around fighting for freedom. What sense do that make?
Yeah.
So I'm excited. What is somebody? Let me put this up. Somebody said.
Yep. That's right. We need to get back to the brass tacks of how, like I said, our founding fathers found this on principles, and it was the right way. We need to get back to that right way. And I used to work on computers a lot, and I kind of related an acronym to we need to reformat the hard drive, right? We need to get the virus. You got a bad virus. We need to reformat the hard drive, get back to the root operating system, and move forward the right way. So,
yeah. And when you talk about computers, you know what I used to say? I'm going back to the old school. You know how you have to defragment it?
Yeah.
That's what we got to do. We got to defrag. Let us all come back together.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people all the time. It's too many fragments in the way. So we got to defragment it and come all back together so they can see the unity that we have and that we the people are one. That's the part I'm waiting on. All of us being one.
That's right.
Now, we already know everybody is not going to be one, but the majority that can control the government, we can be all one.
Yes.
And then, now that we got government, then it's like, okay, you don't go home. You stay there to make sure that I do what I said I was going to do.
That's
you
right.
Stay there to make sure everybody that is elected from school board all the way to the governor's house, that everybody is doing what they say they're going to do.
100% sustainability and accountability.
Yes. And if we do that, then we're gonna have a great state, a state that people will start moving back into instead of moving out of.
100%.
And that's what we need.
That's what we get.
Okay, so we're about to let's see. Go ahead and give us your final spiel. Give us I'm gonna test you right now. Give us a 7 to 10 minute final spiel.
7 to 10 minute final spiel, huh? Well, we're already kind of long-winded as it is. I'm going to keep it kind of short and simple. The way I like to see it is that, like I stress enough, be a part of the network, be a part of the family that's growing, be a part of the Patriot movement, join us, join the local group, help encourage others to stand on the front line, to toe the line, and have the courage to get out there and do what's right for your community. Community, and then it decentralizes to your state and America. So to me, work together, keep your moral compass together, join a local group, realize that sustainability and being able to make decisions based on the right thing instead of a political avenue is the way to go. And there is support out there. We'll all support each other. We support the movement. We have other people out there to support us. So at the end of the day, just we all need to work together, organize on these movements. That's my big spiel. Just come together, do something, act, and be a part of the movement.
All right. Mine's is going to be very simple. I know I don't give so many analogies tonight, but I'm going to just do something very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Dr. David King, and I am your next Lieutenant Governor. Very simple, very simple. But it is about coming together. And even when the snow falls and everybody can't get out, this is one of the reasons why I do these shows. So I would love to have you back on again.
Sure.
And I don't know why my green screen wasn't acting right for me tonight, but that's okay. I'll get it together. But because I had a lion that I wanted to put behind me.
I saw it.
Yeah. I love that lion. I want that lion behind me. But to those that we want to thank everybody that have been watching
Yes.
and commenting and everything. And we just thank each and every one of you guys. And we need all of you guys in order
right.
for us as freedom fighters or as American Uniting. We can't unite without you. Like I said, we can argue about this because I know some of y'all are not a Steeler fan, so we can argue about that later afterwards. You know,
Yeah.
we got to go back to and fix the house, and the house is our state. We got to fix the house. It's out of order. It done got too big, and we got to do our part to shrink it and make sure that they are listening to the people of Wisconsin. Because
Yes.
I tell people all the time that both sides forget about the people. They don't listen to us right now. And I think we need to send a strong message in 2022 that by the time 2024 comes, they listening very well.
That's right. If they want to maintain their positions, that they will listen. And guess what? We don't forget either. So they need to realize just because you say something now doesn't mean we don't remember what you did in the past.
That's right.
So remember that, you know?
Yeah. And so that's the beauty of it. And so, you know, it's all about unifying. It's all about coming together. It's all about God, family, and freedom. That's what it's all about. And, you know, and so anytime we keep God first, everything else will line up. And, you know, and we've been we've been a car that is what was that out of alignment. You know, sometimes it will pull right, sometimes it'll pull left. You know, we got to put the car back in alignment so it'll drive smooth, and that our children and grandchildren. Somebody said what? So glad you got in the fight, Dr. King. Oh, well, thank you.
Perfect.
You know, I appreciate it. I've been in the fight for a long, long time. And I said this, John, in 2009, and it's happening today. I said in 2009 in Sheboygan at a tea party, I said, we as Blacks understood what it feels like to fight for freedom. I said, but the way everything is going now, in a minute, all of us is going to have to fight for freedom.
That's right.
And it's here. And, you know, because we never paid attention. For example, when they first told our kids in school, if your parents whoop you, call 911. Red flag, hold up, you know, but we didn't say anything.
Right.
You know, we should have said, who in charge of teaching this? Let's get rid of them first.
Yep.
You know, but we allowed it. Then we got the second warning, Common Core. And we didn't say nothing about it.
No.
Now we at the final warning, transgender, CRT. So what are we going to do? We woke now and we're listening.
Yep. We've allowed it to metastasize, but now we got that therapy to get that blob out of the system. So
yes,
we're gonna do.
And I'm excited to do it. And again, I'm so grateful to you. Let me see some of the people that was on. Kevin Nutt is on.
Yep.
Anita is on. Jody Wells is on. David is on. Let's see. Oh, these are the ones comment. It's more than Joy is on.
Good.
Yeah. So let's see who else. Because I got two phones. I'm looking on two.
We'll put this on our Facebook page too. This live air we can put in our Facebook. So
and Melissa's on, and Liz is on too.
Good.
Yes, I tried to get Liz to come on the show, but she wouldn't respond to me.
Oh.
Some of the members of the church, my nephew and all the way in Georgia is watching.
Nice.
But this goes on right now. We're being aired, and this is why I love it. We're being aired on Facebook right now, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn, perfect.
Yes. So once I know how to connect Getter
Mhm.
then we'll be also on Getter.
Outstanding.
So again, I want to thank you for being on with me tonight.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
I was honored to meet you guys, Freedom Fighters of Central Wisconsin.
Same here.
You know, it was a blessing to meet you guys up in Stevens Point. You know, I think I'm gonna get some of the pastors to come on tomorrow on next week to
Good.
talk on the show, and they are really freedom fighters. If you listen to their message, you will know they're freedom fighters. So, so I'm excited about them as well coming on. So, it's
Okay.
huh?
No, I said no. That's good.
Yeah. So if you guys want to ever come on, you know, you're welcome to come on and talk and share and you know,
Thank you.
yeah. And I'm praying that Brock feel better, that he can be on the next show.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much snow y'all gonna get, but if y'all are able to, I'll see y'all Friday.
Mm-hmm.
If you come Friday, would you want to MC?
Yeah. Let me. If I can come, I'd like to say a few things. Yes.
Okay.
I'll verify that with you.
Okay. Just let me know.
Sure.
And so we're excited.
Yep.
Maybe snow Friday. Who said that?
Yeah, we're supposed to get quite a bit of snow, but
Oh,
hey,
David.
that never stopped me before, as long as the roads are okay.
Okay. Well, just let me know, and we'll make that happen. So again, everybody, I'm thanking you guys. Again, if you're in the Kenosha area on tomorrow, we'll be at Baker Street Restaurant off of Green Bay Road in Kenosha. Come on down. You get to ask me any question you want to ask. I'm an open book. I will answer all your questions. I'm not going to make up an answer for you. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to just tell you I don't have the answer, but I will get you the answer. But I'll be able to answer all your questions. You might not like what I answer, the way I answer, because one of my rules in my campaign is I will never tell you what you want to hear, but I will tell you what you need to hear. So I'm not going to water it down or nothing. I'm just tell the butt naked truth, because we need leaders that will tell the truth. You know,
Right.
I tell people sometimes, John, that you ever saw the movie Lean on Me?
Yes. Long time ago, but yeah.
I'm Crazy Joe.
That's funny. Okay.
I
got you.
I'm Crazy Joe. So I just tell it like it is. And I do things how should I say, out of the box, but I get good results when I do what I do. So, and
sure.
that's what we're looking for now. We're looking for results. So
that's right.
Yeah. So I'm thankful. Those of you in the Shell Lake area, I will be in Shell Lake on the 16th of December, and then our final rally, in-person rally for the year, we're going to be in Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
Good.
So, and a good friend, Pastor Jason Storm, will be speaking up there. Have you guys met Jason?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I got to introduce y'all to Jason Storm too. And it's a lot. I'm just excited what is happening and what people are doing. And we all in this together, like you say, it's all of us.
That's right.
It's not one individual person. It is all of us. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
The flyers, I believe, will be coming out for the January 13th event soon, right?
Yes, they'll be out soon on the Facebook page and the website. Yep. We'll get
so
all that intel out proactively.
Do you want to go ahead and give them the website?
Yeah, the website's really simple. It's ffcw.us. Go on the website or Facebook page, and it will be on there. Like I said, look for our text app program we have coming out that we're going to release to our members. So a lot of good, exciting things. But as I always say at the end of my videos, Dr. King, Freedom fighters, fellow patriots, John, out.
All right. So you guys have a blessed night. And until next week, Wednesday, God bless.
God bless.